Okay, we're adding a fused circuit. We're tapping into a fused circuit on the motorcycle in order to provide 12 volts for the GPS. So we've pulled out one of the fuses and soldered onto one side of the fuse. I'll show you how on your bike to find out which side is the hot side and which side is the fuse side on your fuse box. But anyway, you just clean this pin, tin the wire, solder to it, and then take a utility knife and scrape off any excess solder so the pin thickness is correct, and it'll go back in the plug, and plug it back in. That's all it takes. Okay, for the negative side, give yourself a good terminal. It doesn't matter if it's a fork terminal or a ring terminal. This is both crimped and soldered. The crimping is for physical strength and the soldering is for electrical integrity. And find yourself a good ground screw and cinch that thing down, and you'll be good. This is a good, safe, secure system. If anything goes wrong on the other end of this power plug, it will blow the fuse. It will not burn the bike up. And then just carry a spare fuse. In this case, it's a headlight fuse. Carry a spare fuse. If there's blue for any reason, just pull a fuse and put in a new fuse, and skip having the GPS, but have a headlight. So what I'm going to do, this is a good kind of a standard auto parts, a universal kind of a connector, and I'm going to take another connector like this and attach it to a cigarette lighter type outlet, so that I can disconnect that if I want to plug something else in there, a different kind of connector. I'm not stuck with this big clunky thing, but for right now this is convenient to have, especially since the Garmin power converter plugs into that thing. But you can also plug in a little USB type charger converter that plugs into a cigarette lighter and charge other things. Okay, if you have to splice wires together to get the right connectors on here, keep track of the polarity of your wires. Red for positive, black for negative. Mark both sides so you don't screw up, so that from one end to the other you have the same same polarity all the way through. Otherwise you're going to smoke something. And get some heat shrink and put it over your connectors after you solder them, and things will be good. You got your connections all together and the heat shrink on the individual wires. Heat shrink them again. So here's the whole deal. Here's how we tap into the electrical system of the motorcycle and keep it fused so it's safe. That just plugs right into the fuse. Make sure you know which side of the fuse box is the hot side. Use your little multimeter and find out which side goes on when you turn on the ignition, and which side doesn't. The side that doesn't is a load side, and that's the side that you want to plug this side of the fuse into, the load side. This is the hot side, so that the thing that you plug in the other end here is fused like everything else on the bike. When you use these kind of connectors, the side that comes from the battery, this side, you want this exposed terminal to be the negative terminal, so that this is the hot side. This is the side that comes from the battery. If that touches ground, nothing happens, and the positive terminal is always insulated. So you got to have it that way. And then what you plug into it can be backwards. It won't matter, because when this isn't plugged in, there's nothing there, and it goes into the plug. So that's why you've got to keep track of the polarity. If you don't have mating plugs, the way they come, if you buy a pair at the hardware store or the auto parts store, you'll get one that's polarized the right way for each side. But I'm using two that were mismatched, and so I had to remark them. But it makes no difference. Functionally, they work the same. You just don't want to make a mistake. So that's the whole deal there. We'll go put it on the motorcycle now. So this is what it looks like. Picked up a ground on this seat tank support here. Got the modified fuse plugged in here. This is the headlight circuit. And then the wire runs up under here. And got to lift out this panel and bring it out under the corner. You can't do it here because it'll just cut it. So the only place you can do it is bring it out here and tape it along here. The fork tubes come right in here, so you have to make sure that you've got this wire secure and let in a way that the forks won't interfere with it. I shoved this cigarette lighter adapter and the power dongle for the GPS down in this area that brings air up on the inside of here so it doesn't fog up. So that's it. And see, you turn the ignition on and it comes on. Just what you want. So that's the story of that. Safe, and this is temporary, but I didn't want to drill any holes, and I wanted to have GPS for this trip, so that's what we did.